Okay, Deborah, the stream is live now. I have made the host back again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy your cooking.
Thank you. Hi, everyone on live stream. Come on in. We're going to get started in a few moments.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
So I was just putting my email address in the chat box here. We have these new addresses now that give us the opportunity to invite you to send in ideas or recipes or any other kinds of things that you want to send my way for consideration. And if you want to join me as a co-host on a class sometime, I'm always open to those ideas. I want to tell you why. One thing we just decided we were going to work on that you can think about for later when it comes out. I'm working on a spotlight series, a spotlight on particular ingredients. And I'm going to do a spring spotlight on seasonal ingredients there. And our guide, Scott, who is our photography expert, is going to do a class on how to photograph food, how to photograph your kitchen creations. So what I'm putting out there to you to think about if you attend these classes is that you take the class and you walk away with some ideas for how to use the ingredient, and you find and make your own creation. Take a picture of it and send the picture and your recipe in to me, and we'll gather all of that. We're going to gather all of it and publish it. And if you tell me I can have your permission to use your name and your photograph and maybe even a photograph of you, we'll have this nice little collection of things coming out of our classes. So if you'd like to participate in something like that, stay tuned. We're going to be working on that over the next few weeks, probably taking off in May sometime. So with that, it looks like everybody's kind of gotten in here. Hello, everyone. Is there anyone who's brand new with me today? Michael and Sawa, am I saying that correctly? Okay, great. So are you two new to get set up or just new to my classes?
New to your classes.
Just new to my classes? Okay, okay. Well, welcome, welcome. I hope this will be the first of many. I'm really glad that you came. And you'll see that there are a lot of folks here who have attended classes with me in the past, and we're a pretty friendly group. So I want to invite you to feel comfortable to participate as we go through this class today. This is, I'm going to share my screen so we can get so we can start to look at my presentation. I hope a fun class. It's the first time I'm doing this one, so you're always, it's always fun to be part of a first. You never know exactly what's going to happen. So, hola, everyone. Hola.
Hola. Hola.
Let's have a fiesta. So we know that in May, Cinco de Mayo is coming up, but that's not the only reason why we might want to have a Mexican fiesta. We might want to do that any time of the season. So this class is really about about that and just giving you some ideas for a twist on some menu items that you can put into a little bit of a party that you might decide to have or a family gathering. So for those of you who have not met me before, your first time with me, my name's Deb Livingston and I am your guide here at Get Set Up. My background is in training and development in business, and I was a manager and I coached leaders afterward as a consultant. So now here I am on another iteration and I'm using my background, I guess, to do something fun with cooking and with you all. And I always like to say it's nice to have people actually show up for class who want to be here. That was not always the case in the career that I had in the past. So this is nice. Ideally, if you're here, if you can be on camera, that's great because we really do learn from each other. I think that you'll find that the folks who've been here for previous classes of mine are very participative. We really share a lot of great ideas. I just bring some ideas and you bring the rest and it works out really well. So please feel free to unmute yourself anytime during the class and ask a question or make a comment. All that I would ask is that when you're not speaking, put your microphone on mute, and that keeps the background noise from getting a little overwhelming, which sometimes happens, especially in larger classes. And you can certainly use the chat box as well. And Victor is here today. So Victor is going to be monitoring the chat. He's got his thumbs up over there and monitoring it for questions, comments, and also for any technical problems you may have. So thanks for being here, Victor. And I know you'll be back there in the background supporting our learners. We do have a recording available of this class after the class. And Victor, can you just double check? I think I turned the recording on. Would you double check that that's on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
So you can request that at help@getsetup.io, which is your go-to email for any issues with the site or anything with Get Set Up in terms of communication. Most of you, I bet, have seen the live stream on the website. And so we are live streaming our classes now. So people who can't necessarily sit down to take a class can watch it. So I want to say hi to those of you who are out there in live stream world and invite you to join us for these classes so you can be one of these smiling faces on the screen that I like to talk to so much. We are sharing information with you that may come from other sources, products and services and things along the way. Just so you know, there's no financial relationship there. We just give you information we think you might enjoy. So this is a pretty nice sized class today, and I'm excited that you all came to this Mexican fiesta, and I kind of wanted to know what brought you. What was the spark that made you want to come to a class called Mexican Fiesta?
I love Mexican food.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo is coming up.
And
Yes,
Cinco de Mayo is
Me
coming.
too. Love Mexican food.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I was having a lot of fun doing research on this too. So I found out some fun things that you might not know about Mexican food or about Cinco de Mayo. Now, it seems like people on the West Coast know more about this than people maybe in my neck of the woods. But Cinco de Mayo isn't really a holiday that gets celebrated with vigor in Mexico. Did you know that? It's more of a celebration of the border, you know, the Mexican-American border. It's kind of a Tex-Mex celebration. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't really know that before either, but we celebrate it because we appreciate our Mexican neighbors and we appreciate their culinary contribution. There's also some things about Mexican food that, you know, I think will be kind of astounding to you, interesting, fun. So we're going to play a little bit of trivia on that. And we're also going to just work our way around a few Mexican food terms that you may or may not know. And then I have some recipes. And I'm going to make a couple of simple ones today. We'll see how we do with our time. Hopefully we can get through 2 of them. So just quickly, what are your favorite Mexican foods? I'm curious.
Guacamole.
Chili rellenos.
Chili rellenos and guacamole. Hey, guess what we're going to make today?
Ah, goody, goody.
Perfect.
No chili rellenos though, Gloria. Sorry about that, but I
Okay.
love them. I love them.
Guacamole's good.
Okay. Anybody else have favorites?
Hi, it's Tatiana again.
Hey, Tatiana. Welcome.
I love Mexican rice. It's something special. It's not just a regular. It's very good.
It sure is something special. It's very good. Okay.
I like enchiladas and tacos.
There you go.
Can't go wrong with enchiladas and tacos. Nope, they're delicious.
Those are my favorites.
I love fajitas, and wait till you find out about fajitas. So let's get started here. If you have a pen and a piece of paper, just scratch paper. I want you to write your answers because I'm going to come back then and give answers, but I want you to write down your answers and then we'll go through it again. What food item, what menu item originated in a bar that's just over the border in Mexico when United States military wives wanted something to eat, but the restaurants were all closed?
Chips and salsa.
So you can just write your answer down. Yeah, chips and salsa. Okay. So write it down.
Fajita.
Oh, oops, it's giving me, oops, I forgot that I set this up to do one at a time. I changed my mind. So it was nachos.
Mm.
It was nachos. And nachos are not something authentic Mexican. Although, well, I guess they kind of are. They were made in Mexico as sort of a bar. What happened was these women went to a bar and they were hungry and all the restaurants were closed. And the bartender or the barkeepers had some tortilla chips and some other ingredients and just threw all that together and nachos were born. So, all right. So now I know how I'm set up here. I needed a reminder. So means little strips in Spanish and were originally eaten by Mexican cowboys in the United States. What do you think that was? And now you can answer. Don't worry about writing it down. Just shout out your answer. I decided that was a better way to go.
Fajitas.
What is it?
Fajitas.
Absolutely. So fajitas, itas means little in Spanish. So fajitas, little strips. And they were actually scrap strips. So the cowboys were out on the range and they just had meat scraps and it was basically a scrap dish. So that's my favorite. Okay, so chili con carne is a classic Mexican dish. Is that true or false?
False.
False. I say.
Anybody think it's true? Pretty much coming down with false or right. It's pretty much a Tex-Mex dish. Tacos de pescado originated in Baja, Mexico. What are they?
Fish
Fish.
tacos.
Tacos.
Fish tacos, absolutely.
Yes.
And in this photo up here, what is authentic Mexican?
Rice.
The rice. Anything else?
Beans.
burritos.
Beans.
The refried beans. What is not is this burrito, this little burro. This was also a Tex-Mex kind of cowboy dish. Immense. You don't really see big things like this in Mexico, and you don't see melted cheddar cheese all over everything either in Mexico. And you might see a crema or a queso fresco, which does not melt. So not a meltable cheese. Anybody have experience with Mexican cheeses?
Yeah, there's a place here. They were getting a lot of more authentic Mexican little taco places.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing I really love at one of them is the enchiladas mole, and it's I don't know what's in the sauce, but they do that the crumble the cojita cheese on top of it that doesn't melt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of grocery stores in California naturally that have the Mexican cheeses. Yeah.
Nice. I want to just show you. I stopped at the store today. I was looking for Mexican cheeses. I was having a hard time and I ended up in this little Smart little grocery store across the way, a little chain grocery store that usually I don't go to because they don't have anything. And they had queso fresca
Queso.
and here you go. This is
Cottage.
named after a region or a city in Mexico. So this is a salty aged cheese, and yes, it does not melt. So you'd see that crumbled on dishes as opposed to all that gooey cheddar cheese. And the other thing that is not authentic Mexican is the combo platter. They don't do combo platters in Mexico. And then we just answered this one, an aged cow cheese named after this town in Michoacan. Michoacan, am I saying that correctly? Anybody know?
Michoacan.
Huh?
Michoacan.
Michoacan. Thank you. So, which dishes here are authentic Mexican? Chimichangas are a classic Mexican dish served during the Day of the Dead holiday. True or false?
False.
Exactly. They originated in Arizona, believe it or not, and 2 restaurants out there lay claim to it. Hard tacos are not authentic Mexican food. True or false?
True.
True.
That's true. Those hard corn shells are not authentic. It's usually a soft corn tortilla, maybe a flour tortilla. And steak and pork rather than ground beef are the traditional meats that we would find. Which of the following is not an authentic Mexican food? Chilaquiles, taquitos, or cochinita pibil?
Taquitos.
Taquitos, yeah.
Taquitos. You seem to know, you knew that very quickly. How did you know that?
Because I've had chilaquiles and I've had the cochinita pibil before, and those are original.
Yes.
What is Chiquita Pabil?
Do you wanna-
That's in with the plantain leaf, the pork that's steamed
Oh,
in pork, or you can do chicken too.
I haven't heard of that one. The chiquiles, I know that that's like a dish, from my understanding, it's a dish made from leftovers. And a lot of times it's for breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good breakfast.
Yes, it's very good.
Yes, it is. It is a good breakfast. The taquitos were actually created. They're a deep fried thing, and they were originated in a restaurant out in California, in LA, at Cielito Lindo in 1934. So those were just a few fun things about Mexican food. It sounds like you knew quite a bit about Mexican food, but maybe there were a few things in there that you didn't know. So here are some food terms. And maybe somebody who has some good Mexican pronunciation, Spanish pronunciation, can say these for me. What is this word?
Mole.
Mole.
Mole. So what does it mean in Spanish?
It's a sauce.
Yeah,
It's
sauce.
It's
And
kinda
so then we
sweet.
have guacamole, which is literally avocado sauce.
A
Mhm.
sauce with it, yeah.
Yeah. So what is carne?
Carne, it's meat.
Meat.
It's a meat.
Exactly. Exactly. What about this one? What is this?
Shrimp,
Shrimp. And how do you say it, Michael?
camarón,
I'm wrong. And this one?
pollo,
Chicken.
Chicken.
Pollo. Yes, chicken. And we've talked about queso, so that's cheese. And then we have arroz. What is arroz?
Rice.
rice,
Rice.
Exactly. And then there's frijoles.
Beans.
Beans.
beans,
And we probably all know this one, cerveza
Beer.
Beer.
and pico de gallo. And what is in pico de gallo?
Tomatoes, onions,
Tomatoes.
peppers,
Onion,
peppers and tomatoes.
cilantro.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a fresh tomato sauce. It's a fresh one. And papas fritas,
French fries.
Huh?
French fries, and agua.
Water.
Water.
Okay, so let's talk about the Mexican fiesta menu. I did a little checking to see what were some very popular food items in Mexico that might be appropriate for a fiesta. And of course, we have to start with a margarita. So how many of you like margaritas? Do you drink margaritas? They are
Yeah.
fantastic summer drinks, aren't they?
Yes.
So let's take a look. We're not making those today because then I'd be tempted to drink them. So I'm not going to make one, but this is a good recipe and I'll be sending this as well as the other recipes that I'm going over today to you so that you can recreate them on your own. And this one is not only a good recipe, but I think also has some nice information about the margarita on it, as well as I believe there's a little video here somewhere that you can watch. So we talk about prepping the glass by putting salt on the rim of your glass, and using coarse kosher salt is a good way to go. So you're using lime around the rim. Just take a piece of lime around the rim to wet it, and then dip your glass in the kosher salt. And then in a cocktail shaker, shake the tequila, lime juice, orange liqueur, which could be, what kind of orange liqueur have you used? Anybody have a particular type of orange liqueur?
Yes, Grand Marnier.
Grand Marnier is a great one. That's a high level. If you just wanted a basic off-the-shelf orange liqueur,
I don't know.
you could use Cointreau. So it's tequila, lime juice, Cointreau, and a handful of ice in a large pitcher. You can put it in a pitcher, or you can just do an individual thing in a shaker if you like. And that's all it takes. And you can serve it on the rocks, or you can strain it and serve it without ice. Or the classic, which is to throw it all in a blender and have a nice icy margarita too, frozen margarita. So what we have here are lots of recipe variations. So if you want to get a little crazy on your margarita, you can try all different kinds of ingredients, and you can make it sort of skinny. You can take away some of the alcohol, some of the calories by putting in some orange juice instead of the orange liqueur. Maybe it's just a little shaving off of calories. And then I like this idea. You can actually spice up the rim a little bit. Instead of just using salt, you can use a chili lime salt rim with, or you could use a turbinado. You could also dip it in with a little bit of some kind of a pepper, if you like. So that gets us started, but of course we don't always want to drink alcohol. So has anyone ever made any of the frescas, the agua frescas? So we're going to do that today. That's one of the recipes we're going to make. And this one is a strawberry pineapple aqua fresca. Oh. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, so maybe you can, does it work better if I stop sharing my screen so you can see me better? Does that make your screens? Okay. I'm going to do that. Okay, let me do that. All right. So we're going to start, this is a strawberry pineapple. So got a pineapple here. Thought we'd talk a moment about pineapples. And I couldn't find at my little store that had the Mexican cheese good fresh strawberries. So I ended up getting frozen strawberries, but you're going to want to use fresh strawberries because they're practically in season in most places. Are they in season out there, Gloria, in California?
Yes, they are full going.
Yeah. So elsewhere here on the East Coast, they'll be in where I live in a couple of weeks. So I would want to use fresh ones. They'd be great. And then we have pineapples, which are in season in Hawaii right now. And how do we know how when a pineapple's ripe?
Pull out one of the leaves, and if it comes out easy, it's ripe.
I already pulled some of them out while I was at the store. Yeah, and they get a little yellow. So we're going to go ahead and cut this one, at least part of it, so I can get. So, well, let me ask you this. Before I just go ahead butcher this pineapple, somebody in the audience might know a really cool way to do pineapple. So I'd be happy to take instruction. How do you do your pineapple? Do you have a secret?
Same way you do.
So I'm going to just take
There's kitchen equipment that you can just screw into the top. You cut the top off, and then you just kind of turn in the middle, and you get all the rings right out.
How nice. It's not this thing, is it? No, I don't think I have that. I think I have the gadget for the apples, but it's not the same thing. No, I don't have that. You know, that's a good one to add to my list. Thank you for that. So I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. It takes a little longer. Going to cut the bottom off, cut the top off, and then try to go in as close to the edge where I get as many of those brown nubs off as I can. Might be wasting a little bit of pineapple here. Might have to juice this afterward, put it through the juicer to get the last bits of goodness out. So I'm not very fancy on these. I just cut them this way around the core in the middle. Cut it up from there. And I'm looking for this recipe to be, I think it's 4 cups of pineapple. Yeah, 4 cups of fresh pineapple chunks. So I think what I'm going to do is divide this one in half because I can't possibly drink all of that. It's going to make 6 servings, 6 cups. And what I liked about this recipe, because I compared it to another agua fresca recipe, is that this one really doesn't use sugar. I saw one recipe that had that used a whole cup of sugar. I thought that would really set my teeth on edge. This one uses 2 tablespoons of agave syrup. And I was even thinking that I would want to taste it before I actually added the agave. So I have my trusty Ninja blender here. Does anybody else have a Ninja blender? Yeah, you like it?
I love my Ninja.
Yeah, anybody else have one? Or what's your favorite blender? Who has a Vitamix?
Yeah, I just bought one not too long ago.
Oh, somebody has have you used it?
Yeah, I've used it for a few things.
I have it, and the problem is the how it's called this when you put your stuff in. This makes like it's destroyed. Actually, I don't like it. I don't know what's wrong.
This is
But-
the Vitamix, Tatiana?
Mhm. This cup right here, plastic, it gets scratched.
Oh, this one,
No, the Vitamix.
the Vitamix. Okay, so, Any suggestions, Jeannie?
Well, what are you putting in it, Tatiana? That's,
Just mostly make smoothies. I did not try to do anything else, just smoothies.
Just
Okay.
smoothies.
maybe it's got too much ice in there and not more softer.
You
fruit.
know what? I don't put any ice, not at all.
No
I
ice.
I just put frozen fruits sometimes, but no, I don't know. It's scratched.
Because I know if you put hard things in there, like they sell a dry container to do like grains and coffee and things like that. If you do
Mhm.
that with the wet pitcher, that'll scratch it up.
Yeah.
I haven't had that mind that much to notice any scratches on it.
Yeah.
I know mine is pretty scratched up by now, but I've had this Ninja for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that can happen. The blades are pretty powerful. Now I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of berries. And again, these would be fresh normally. So I'm putting that in there. And the juice of 1 lime. So I'm a little old fashioned that way. Does anybody have a fancier juicer that they use? I use this little thing.
Oh,
This, yeah. Anybody use something different? There's those hand things I know.
it's a hand squeezer.
Does that work
Yeah.
really well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a Juice-O-Matic. Do you remember those?
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's
I got it
neat.
at antique store.
I love it. Yeah, sometimes, especially with the way lemons and limes are these days, they're sometimes so hard. You need a lot of pressure. Has anybody heard of that idea of putting them in the microwave? In fact, I think somebody mentioned
Yeah, it
that in
works.
one of my classes, that you put the lemon or the lime in the microwave, not for a long time, but just enough, just for a few seconds to warm it slightly, and then roll it on the counter, and it breaks down the
Yeah.
fibers, it breaks down the cells.
And even if you don't put it in the microwave, if you roll it on the counter, that helps.
It helps, yeah. This is calling for 2 to 3 tablespoons or the juice of a lime, but I'm putting less in because I'm putting 1 tablespoon in because I just did half the recipe. And then the other thing that we're adding here is water. So just water. And what should be happening with your fruit that I did not do is you should be doing the fruit cold. So my pineapple obviously wasn't cold. My strawberries were still cold. 2.5, half of 2.5 is
1 1/4.
I could ask Alexa. Alexa, what is half of 2.5?
Half of 2.5 is 1.25.
Aha. Just in case I get paralyzed and can't do math in my head here while I'm on camera, I have Alexa to answer for me. Does anybody have an Alexa they use in the kitchen?
I do.
Yes.
Anybody want to know what an Alexa is?
Alexa keeps me company when I'm by myself. She tells me jokes. She tells me about my morning weather, the news. She's awesome.
Yeah, I
Alexa can be
agree.
very awesome. How else do you use it? How does anybody else use Alexa?
Remind
Music.
me to turn off TV. Remind me turn on the stove.
Play music for me.
Music.
Okay.
It
So
tells
we-
me about my deliveries from Amazon.
You're right.
Timer.
Sure do, yep.
Great ideas.
Can't do without her now.
No, I know you get really reliant on her. So, Sawa, you can tell her to turn on your oven. Do you have a smart house?
Remind me. No, to remind me.
Oh, remind you to turn on your oven. Okay. That's a good idea. I always forget to turn on my oven to preheat things. Okay, hold your ears. I'm going to run this real quickly. So you see how that looks? It's pretty thick and foamy. And you can do a couple of different things. You can strain this if you want, or you can just pour it out foamy the way it is, which I think is beautiful. It's not quite, it's thick, but it's not quite smoothie consistency. I didn't put any agave in. For me, this is perfect. If you wanted it a little sweeter, you could add a little sweet, but if the fruit is cold, it's great the way it is. If the fruit is not cold, you could throw a few ice cubes in there and blend it around. Then it would get a little more smoothie consistency. But I will put this in the refrigerator and I will.
Could you use frozen pineapple?
Pardon me?
Could you use frozen pineapple also?
You could, yeah. The more you use frozen fruit, the thicker it's going to be, the more smoothie like it'll be. So the idea here was to have it have a little bit of texture, but not quite smoothie consistency. So I was thinking about though, what it might be like if we actually did strain it, because I haven't really done this before. So what would it be like to put it through this little strainer? This is a very fine strainer. Nope, you don't want to do anything that fine. You have to have a bigger, it's not coming through. So scratch that idea unless you have a thinner strainer or a bigger hold strainer. Okay, so however, these can be very beautiful. I'm going to just share my screen and show these pictures real quickly so you get another sense of what they can look like and how you can decorate them for your fiesta. So there we go. This was poured over ice, and then you put a little toothpick in there with some fresh fruit. Very festive and really nice see, it was strained here and thinner. It's really nice when you're serving to people who don't necessarily want to drink alcohol. Those poor folks often get left out. Would you like iced tea? So this would be something a little different. But you can also add tequila to this, or you could add any kind of spirit that you want, that you prefer, and make this a spiked drink as well. It's very tasty. I liked it. Okay.
And that was just fruit and water, right?
Yeah, it was just adding some more water to the fruit. Yeah, a little bit of agave if you feel like it needed a little sweeter, but I'd start with your fresh fruit and see if that's enough.
What about canned fruit? Can you use canned fruit with it and use some of the juice from the canned fruit instead of using the water?
Why not? Sure. I think agua fresca in Mexico is probably intends to be a lot of water and light fruit. Maybe there's a lot of recipes around like that, even from they put fruit in water and just sip on it all day, and this maybe was intended that way, but I like your way. I don't see why we couldn't do that. And that would add natural sweetness too. You wouldn't need probably any agave. Okay, so here's the next set of recipes, and we talked about guacamole and seemed to enjoy guacamole, so we're going to make that. Does anybody have one of these bowls and use a pestle? It's been years since I've been to one of those restaurants where they make the guacamole in these bowls, but I think I should invest in one, because when you mash the avocado, it's nice to have a pestle to kind of mash it against this rough edged bowl. It mashes very nicely. So yeah, when they make guacamole tableside, they'll often bring it and make it in that kind of a bowl. So I found a guacamole recipe a number of years ago that I really enjoy. And so I wanted to share that with you because I seem to get a lot of compliments for my guacamole. It's pretty simple to make, but I've had friends say, you make the best guacamole. So I can't argue with that. And it's this recipe, how to make a perfect guacamole. And for the most part, I do follow this recipe, but I'll tell you anything that I and are you there?
We're here.
Can you see my
Yeah,
recipe?
you're breaking up.
Breaking up, Deb.
Oh, I'm breaking up. Okay.
You seem to
I
be.
noticed that my internet signal today has been a little spotty. I don't know what's going on. Am I still breaking up?
You're fine now, Deb.
You're okay now.
Okay, thank you. All right. So you can see the recipe up here. I just wanted to show you that before I switch off and come back. I'm going to stop my share and make the guacamole that is my favorite recipe. Let me get rid of my blender. Get rid of my pineapple so I have a clean slate here. Okay, so this recipe calls for 2 ripe avocados. So who wants to give some advice on how to select a ripe avocado?
Gotta be a little soft.
Little soft.
What I usually do is see if the stem is still on there. If it comes off real easily, then it's ripe. You know
Oh,
what I'm
that's
talking
good
about?
tip.
Sometimes they have that little stem still on there.
Well, I have no stems on either of mine. This one I purchased today. It's kind of on the soft side, but I didn't have a lot of selection. So I'll be interested to see if there's any black in here. This one I let ripen on my counter until it was just a little soft brown and a little soft. And then I have had it in the refrigerator for quite a while, where they seem to stay very nicely once they've been ripened. So you can ripen on the counter, and when they get to the degree of ripeness that you like them, you can hold them in the refrigerator. Is that what you find?
That's what I do. Yeah.
So
Deb, if you ever get a chance, I don't know if you can get it out in your area, but the Reed avocado. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Reed.
No, I am not. All we have are mostly the Haas.
Yeah, but look out for the Reed. It's even better than the Haas.
And is that REED?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. I will look for those. And I just stabbed my knife in there, just did a whack and got the pit out that way. So that's how I do it. And then I use a spoon. A number of ways that you can do this, but I just get mine out with a spoon.
Yeah, I do too.
This one looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Pretty ripe. I just used the bowl that I was going to make my guacamole in for my pineapple. Well, that was silly. I need another bowl. Sorry for all the noise, but you can see through this one anyway. So that in.
You froze.
Hey, Deb, you're breaking up again.
Sure. It's a beautiful again.
Yep. Breaking up.
I guess I'm going to have to call my service provider.
Yeah.
Am I making? Yeah.
You're okay.
Everything. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to get through it because I don't think it's anything I can fix on my end, unfortunately. Except to call Comcast and say, what are you doing to me? Okay, this is the one that I bought today. It's got a little bit of brown in it. It's not as perfect as the other one, but it'll do. So the idea is to just begin mashing this. So the nice thing is when they are ripe, they mash pretty easily. And they don't have to be creamy smooth. I don't necessarily want my guacamole to be food processor smooth. You can use a fork if that works better for you. The consistency of this one is such that this spoon's working pretty nicely. And once I get it mostly mashed, that's when I like to go ahead and use my lime juice. This calls for a tablespoon of fresh lime or lemon juice. So I've got just about a tablespoon in there left over from the other recipe, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, when you make your guacamole, those of you who do, what kind of salt do you use?
I use sea salt.
Himalayan salt.
Himalayan, yep, I like Himalayan too, and I like this Celtic sea salt too. For some reason, I just enjoy putting this into my guacamole, and I just grab a little pinch, and then I salt it accordingly as if I need a little bit more. So put a little of that in there. And then some onion. Now I had some onion, you know, I like to prep ahead things for the week, and sometimes I just cut a lot of onion up because I'm using it. And this calls for 2 tablespoons to 1/4 cup of minced onion. So this onion is not minced, it's chopped. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more. You can't hear me.
I want to ask a quick question. When you prepare your onion, do you keep in a freezer or just in refrigerator?
In the refrigerator. I only do enough for what I'd use in the week, Tatiana. After that, it's, you know, it's good for about a week.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so I'm putting this much in, you know, it really is. I go for about 2 tablespoons. I like a lot. I like onion. This is sweet onion. This is what I put in. I like the Vidalia. The recipe calls for red onion. But for those of you who've been in my classes before, you know that I have a preference for a sweet onion. I'm going to just give that a stir. And then we're going to add some jalapeno. This calls for serrano chilies. It doesn't really matter. You can just use any kind of hot pepper that you have. Fresh is preferable, but I waste not, want not. And I had lots of jalapenos in my garden last year and I froze them. So I'm using it. And I'm going to probably just put a half one in because I like my, well, this, I guess I can put the whole one in. It's not real large. This jalapeno is tasty in guacamole, but you don't want to get it any hotter than you like it. So start with a little, taste it, and then add more if you want.
Do you use seeds?
No, I took the seeds out. So thanks for
I
asking.
know. Yeah,
Yep,
it's very, yeah, it's very spicy. Yes.
they definitely make everything hotter, don't they?
Mhm.
Now, if you do like to spice it up a little bit more, and it's out of preference, I don't usually put this in, but sometimes I say, I'll throw a little of the hot sauce in. Just a little shaker bit full of that. Then I put in some fresh grated black pepper. No measures, just And I'm going to now do some cilantro and mix that in. And it calls for about 2 tablespoons of cilantro. So I'm just going to chop a little of that up and I'm going to eyeball it. If you want to measure it, you can measure it. Some people don't like cilantro, and if I find that that's the case with the people I'm serving it to, I might add parsley instead of cilantro, or just nothing at all. The other thing that this recipe calls for that I sometimes do, but lately have not been doing, is tomatoes. Now, you should not put your tomatoes in until you're ready to serve it, because they will get watery, they'll kind of not be undesirable. So you do that at the end. I like putting, when I do put tomatoes in, putting the cherry or grape tomatoes in because of the way that they hold up, but you can use any kind of tomato. I've just recently, I guess, not been putting tomatoes in at all. And it's just a matter of choice. I also don't put garlic in. There are a lot of recipes out there for guacamole that contain garlic. And I checked that out when I was doing the checking on authentic Mexican food. And I said, you know, does authentic guacamole have garlic in it? And no, it does not. So I felt somewhat vindicated by that, because I don't like garlic in my guacamole.
My granddaughter can eat guacamole by the spoonful.
Oh.
And she's only 2.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Loves it. She loves it.
Isn't it funny how kids are with that? I had my one granddaughter liked avocado. That's all she would eat for a while. Now she didn't eat guacamole. That's interesting. So it's all finished, and this will be wow, this might be dinner tonight, because you know it's really hard to keep this very long. You have to eat it fresh. I wish you were here to share it with me, because this is a lot of guacamole for 2 people to eat. I have been delivering food. I've had company over for dinner the last 2 nights. I call a friend of mine who's running for political office locally. She's been literally running. I mean, she's been so busy. And I said, why don't you just come down for dinner? Because all I'm doing is cooking down here. So we've been eating all the things I've been making in these cooking classes. All right, so those are 2 recipes for today. And I want to share with you briefly the others that we have on tap that I'll be sending your way. I'm going to share my screen again here. And I was looking around for what I would say could be authentic but not complicated fish taco recipe. So I came up with this one. There's many out there. I thought this one looked very good. I might even do it in one of these classes later instead of doing the guacamole. Very simple ingredients: a nice white fish, romaine lettuce, some corn tortillas. So we're mixing some spices here with the flour and coating the fish in flour and doing a light frying in a frying pan, and then dressing these with a pico de gallo. The recipe will be here. Oops. Doesn't that look fresh and good? So there you go. You've got guacamole. So you serve with a lettuce leaf in there, nestle the fish, top with the pico de gallo, serve with lime wedges on the side. So you've got this really beautiful plate now with guacamole and with your fish tacos, very colorful. And this is a quick prep, 30-minute prep time. Takes about 15 minutes to cook and put together.
I do have a question about rice, Mexican rice. What special in recipes? What do you need to put addition in order to have it as a Mexican rice?
Wow, good question, Tatiana. I don't have a recipe for that right now, but I wonder if we could if anybody's interested, let's do it this way because we're getting kind of close on time. If anybody's interested, we can check one out together after the class. So you're welcome to hang on a little bit after and we'll look at that. Fair enough, Tatiana?
Yes.
Okay. So has anybody ever had elotes? Street corn, it's called. If you go to Mexico and you're in the piazza or what the
Yes, I didn't
downtown.
realize that's what it was. Yes, I have.
Yeah, so
It's good.
delicious and you can make it at home very easily. And you use Mexican crema on that. So let's go through. I think this might be the wrong. Uh-oh, wrong link maybe. Here we go. I put a link to the crema and a link to the corn here. So this is grilled corn. And then you coat it with a lime crema. And that is why I'm going to also send you the crema recipe. But you can buy crema in the store. I just saw it at that grocery store that I was at that I told you about. So it's definitely classic Mexican. And let me try to get down here to the recipe. Here we go. So you're going to use the corn on the cob, grill it until it's done. Just keep turning the sides. They get a little bit brown. Looks like about 3 minutes on each side. And then prepare the sauce. So the sauce is the Mexican crema, mayonnaise, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, salt, lime juice, and cilantro. And that you just simply spread that on the grilled corn after it's been grilled. And you can serve it with that cheese, these cheeses that we talked about, cilantro, a little chili powder, and some additional lime juice. So this makes a great outdoor kind of thing. You've got your grill going and you've made some fish tacos. You could even put a pan on your grill and make your fish outside so your house doesn't smell like fish. And people can be snacking on guacamole and chips while you're grilling the corn. They get that little experience of dressing up their corn and while they're sipping that margarita as well. And just can be an enjoyable meal. And this last, I would not say is necessarily authentic in the recipe itself, but helado frito is fried ice cream. And there's an interesting video associated with this. We're out of time to view it right now, but the video shows true fried ice cream being made. They cut the crusts off white bread and wrap it in white bread and dip it in some batter and then deep fry it. But this is a simple recipe. Does anybody ever remember Chi-Chi's, the restaurant chain Chi-Chi's?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yummy. Yes.
Yes. And when I had their fried ice cream, I tried to find something that I could do at home. And I found this recipe and it's still around. This is one that does not fry the ice cream, but it uses ground corn flakes and some cinnamon, and you roll the ice cream in that, and you'd be surprised at how tasty that is and how much it kind of reminds you of a fried ice cream without going to all that mess and making the ice cream any more caloric than it already is. So that's a fun recipe, and I'll just send that along to you to try. So what do you think? Do you think you'll maybe have a little fiesta coming up at some point?
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Indeed.
So I have an idea for you additionally. You might want to write this down. On April 29th at 2:00, Sarah is doing a 10-minute table runner class. So she's going to show you how to make a table runner if you want to make a festive table. And on April 30th at 1:00, she's going to be doing one on paper flowers. So if you wanted to do festive paper flowers for a Mexican fiesta table, you could check her out. We talked about this so that she's gearing that paper flower up to be festive for a Mexican fiesta table. So that is what we have on deck to make our party time really a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So
Deb, do you make your own tortilla chips?
I have done that. I do not do it regularly, but you want to talk about that?
No, I just tried it during the pandemic when I was bored, found, a recipe. It's just so simple. And I
Really?
just do it once in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
it takes about 10 minutes. You just take those tortillas and cut them in the eighths. And I used either lime or I use just sea salt. I just prefer just using the sea salt. But 10 minutes is about all it takes in the oven at about 400, I think it is.
Yeah, we broke up. We froze. To crisp those up, it just takes a few minutes.
Right.
Yeah, my internet connection, I'm getting messages. Yeah, they're a great idea. You can have a bag of tortillas in your freezer and you would
Right.
always have those on hand because sometimes you make something on the spur of the moment and you don't have tortilla chips or the ones you have are stale. So it's kind of nice to have that alternative.
Yep, easy and quick. I mean, easy and good, and good.
Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. Okay, well, I'm going to be doing a Kentucky Derby party tomorrow, and next week we're going to be looking at some other things like focus on quinoa and spring meals in 30 minutes. So there's lots coming up, and I hope that you will come to another class. And when you do, I hope you bring some friends. Don't forget to invite people as you're signing up for classes and get them to join so that we can continue to provide more classes and bring in more speakers of the caliber that Rick Steves is. So I know that Gloria, you came to the Rick Steves class. Did anybody else do that? Come to see Rick
Not yet.
Steves? Yeah, you did, Joanne. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm planning to listen to the replay today at, I think it's 5 p.m. I'm not sure, sometime this evening.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we love that. And we love that we're going to be able to get more people like that to come and talk with us. So
Deb,
yeah.
Deb, can you explain me? You said Dorby. I'm sorry, I don't familiar with this. Are you going to make special food? Can you tell me a little bit about this?
For the Kentucky Derby?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm going to talk about some Kentucky dishes and some things that have been traditionally served. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the race a little bit. I'll share some trivia, much like the format that we had today. So it should be fun. And I don't know if I showed you this, but some of you have seen this. If you come to my Kentucky Derby party, my Kentucky Derby class, and you are so inclined, you can wear your hat. And we could all have a good time wearing our hats at the Derby. That goes for men too, Michael. Michael, I saw some very cool men's hats online too. So I spent about more time than I should have making this hat up. But look at this. This is my favorite part.
It's beautiful.
It's a little bourbon bottle, Kentucky bourbon. So how lucky was I to have that? Anyway, thanks for coming. Look forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Tatiana, if you want to hang on for the rice, we can look at that together.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. I'm looking that up right now.
I'm gonna join you with it to see how you do the rice.
Sure. So what I'm typing in here is authentic, because I want to make sure that we get one that is really from of Mexican origin here. And you know, when you go to some restaurants, there's a lot of things in the Mexican rice. But when I've had Mexican rice, it isn't particularly full of things like that. It's a little more, let me get over here. It's a little more nondescript. Tasty, but looks like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what spices to add? So here we go. Garlic, tomato bouillon, and chili powder
Wow.
for this one, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a whole lot. Chili powder, tomato bouillon, minced garlic. Pretty simple recipe there.
I never know about the tomato bouillon. I know the chicken, the beef. I don't never have seen a store.
Yeah, let's take a look here. I would imagine that the other option is just using tomatoes. So let's see here we're using tomatoes. So let's look at that. That actually looks more appealing to me.
Yes.
So here we're using some chicken broth, a medium Roma tomato, caldo tomate. So that might be that same thing, caldo tomate. Oh, whoops. She said she had a footnote. I'm looking for the footnote. Let me look that up.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry, I have to do this.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the tomato bouillon. Here's what it looks like.
Oh, thank you.
So
Now
both recipes called for that, and there it is.
I see. Now I see. Okay, thank you. I never pay attention.
You're welcome. Take care.
Okay,
Thanks for coming.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.